Hello, everybody, and welcome back to a new episode of El Koki Otaku. Today, my special guest with many important characters and very interested, such as Yuke Feldio in I left my A rank party to help my former students reach the dungeon depths. And these titles. Amane, Amane Chitose in My Dress Up Darling Season 2 currently airing. Mitsuki Kiryu in Windbreaker. Meguru Bachira in Blue Lock. Oliver Horn in Reign of the Seven Spellblades, and many more. So today we welcome Drew Breedlove. Drew, thank you so much.
Of course, thanks for having me. I'm excited.
So far, you have in the past 2 anime seasons, you have a very interesting character. How you feel so far with this?
I'm very thankful for it. You know, I'm a part of a lot of really interesting shows right now. As you mentioned, Yuka from A Rank Party, we're getting a season 2 for that. I don't know when, but we're getting a season 2, and I'm super pumped for that. And then I've been working on My Dress Up Darling throughout the season this season, and that one's a really, really cool show. I had never actually heard of it before I worked on it, and then after watching it, I was like, wow, this is really good. So, yeah, I love being a part of that show as well.
We need to jump into that, but let's kick it off with Yuka, as you mentioned. Yuka Feldio, main character in my... I'm going to say it one last time. Yeah. I left my A rank party to help my former student reach the dungeon depths.
There you go.
It's surprising how these long titles keep going long, and something you feel like, okay, you wrap it up everything. No, maybe you just wrap up the first 5 minutes of the pilot episode, and then not that much to do.
Yeah.
But for those who haven't seen this beauty anime, which I enjoyed from the beginning to the end, how do you describe it?
It's really good. It's like a banished from the hero party type show, and a lot of people think it's going to be a harem off the front, right? But it actually ends up being, like, as it goes on, it ends up being its own thing, and it's actually pretty dark towards the end, and which was very surprising. And it's really it's got its own flavor to it, and I actually really enjoyed it. Yuka's one of my favorite characters that I've played, and that's why I'm so pumped for the second season, because I wasn't ready to say bye to him yet.
Definitely. I'm with you because, like you mentioned, first I thought it could be just a harem. No, it wasn't a harem. I mean, I'm very happy with what happened at the end, the relationship. You know, we can drop soft spoiler here. I'm happy with the girl who decided to take the lead, and she's the one like, hey, you see my guy? Yeah, guys, like, boundaries, my guy.
Yeah.
But the darkness, I thought would be like more soft, and holy cow, they took darkness a little bit. I always say the beauty in the darkness, and we saw it here.
Yeah. And so go ahead.
No, you got it.
Oh, I was just gonna say, the thing about it too that's really cool is, like, the fight scenes were really well animated, even though they were shorter. But man, like, the fight scenes were like just they were beautiful to watch. And the music's good too. It was like there was a lot about it that I got that really surprised me, because, you know, with the animes with the longer titles, you know what you're getting into, but, like, you never know what you're getting into. If that makes sense.
For real.
So, but man, yeah, I was pleasantly surprised by that one. That one's very good.
And I'm with you. I'm one of those new fans. Sorry, Dragon Ball Z family fans. I like short fights. I mean, no fights last more than 12 rounds in boxing, and many times in some series like Dragon Ball Z, we might have 7 episodes for one fight.
Yes.
And I hear like, come on, guys, can you just somebody shut it? I mean, wrap it up already. So with it, there's a few new titles that everything is a fighting scene. They're like, okay, it's cool, it's badass, boom, 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 we move on. And like, finally, let's get out, because it's only 12 episodes per season. We don't have time to spend here in only one fight. So bring me the tea. And talking about tea, Yuka was a very interesting character. How do you describe this young character here with a lot of story to grow?
Yeah, it's very, because, you know, he's very much a teacher, right? So that's very evident by one of the things I used to joke with the director is he talks in paragraphs almost every time he talks so much. But he's very knowledgeable, and I like how he gets a lot of development, and he and the girls help him, and he helps the girls. It's like a, you know, it's a two-way street. It's really cool how he evolves with his team, and the different spells and things like that. But it's just so interesting with him, his relationship with his first party, and then with Clover, obviously, you know, all the girls, and I love him. He's a great character for sure.
It is, and the relationship that he developed, they're great. They're very fun. They have you thinking about it, and of course, we're going to. I hope it's calling his friend crush or bad relationship, Simon, which toxic as hell.
Yeah.
And holy cow, I thought that. So when it really got me out of base, because I thought that would be just like, okay, we wrap it with Simon, we're done, and Simon came back like 3 times.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting how they brought him back, because I wasn't expecting the way that they did, and it's really cool how they kind of incorporated that, and they've got all these different like elements to it that just like I said, I mean, you go in expecting, oh, okay, it's going to be generic harem, but it is not. It's very far from that, because they have so many unique elements to it without spoiling things, you know. But you know what I mean.
A little bit of spoiler. Why not? Have been released already a season ago.
Oh, that's true. That's true. The time travel stuff is awesome. I love that kind of stuff.
It was crazy. I think it was crazy, the time travel moment, especially when he found Simon. Right?
Yeah.
The reason why Simon is over there, it was dark.
Yeah.
And painful, kind of.
Yeah.
I was in shock. I was like almost midnight, and suddenly I'm like, wait, Simon is back there? And when he realized what happened, how he made it there, I'm like, oh my god, that's good dark here as hell. Like, it really, I don't know how to describe it right now. I don't know how to describe what happened over there, because it goes so dark, painful, that I'm like, but I love it. So
yeah,
you Drew as Yuke. How was the experience of having long dialogue and
well, so that was very interesting. So Yuke is my second lead I've ever done, because as you mentioned before, I was Oliver Horn in Reign of the Seven Spellblades, and he was my first lead. And so with Oliver, I talked a lot. It was more or less kind of the same character, in the sense that, you know, they both have magic, they both talk, you know, they're both kind of, you know, teacher characters. But with Yuka, he just like every time I'd go in to record, it would be anywhere from 150 to 200 lines of just like paragraph. And that was it was challenging at first, but I got really used to it, especially like it was 24 episodes. So we recorded over like a 6-month period. So, I mean, I got used to it definitely by like the end of it. And it's the way you tackle it is you just have to break apart the paragraph and just kind of, I don't know, you get into a rhythm, and then, you know, it just becomes kind of second nature at that point. But sometimes, especially when there were scenes that were like high action based, so you'd have to, you know, incorporate the efforts in with the big paragraphs. That was a little challenging. But other than that, like, you know, I feel like I grew a lot with Yuka just as an actor, just because there was so much that I could play with him, and he actually had a surprising amount of depth to him. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Before I move forward, otaku conversation, fans. Do you think he chose the right girl, or should he, or did he choose another one?
Well, you know, I like Rain. I do love Rain. If you know, I always have fans be like, well, if it wasn't Rain, who was it? I think he should go for Jamie, the blonde one, from his old party.
Wow.
I know. Well, you know, it was very interesting, because their backstory, I kind of wanted to explore that a little bit more, which I'm hoping they get to in season 2. Because I always found the dynamic of, like, you know, she was part of the old party, but then she became part of the new party, and, you know, so you have that history there and stuff. And I always thought that was a very unique, element to their relationship, for sure. But Rain is definitely, she's the best girl. I love her. She's awesome. That's the thing about Ring too, is all the girls are very well written, which is really, really cool. Because, with those kind of animes, which I'm sure sometimes some of the side characters are a little flat, but all the girls had their own arcs. Even Rune had her own little arc and stuff. And it was, I love that. I love how they really expand upon all the characters and stuff. It's really cool.
I had to admit, damn, Drew, I didn't see that one character. Now you have me thinking like, oh my God, never thought about Jamie. Will you rise here? I need to think about this now. And and the cast on this series was magnificent. It was a premium cast level. I was laughing with Marisa Duran. She's Silk, the elf.
Yes.
Marisa always, most of the time, she had like red hair character. And when I recorded with Marisa a few months ago, almost a year, she's like, I always have red hair character. So when I see Silk, like, I have to write Marisa, finally, we're out of the red hair. She's like, yeah, finally have a non-red hair character.
Yeah, it's funny. No, she's great. The girls really, really crushed it. And it was always fun playing off of them. They made me a better actor because, normally I would be one of the last ones to record. Just because it was a lot. But the girls they always delivered. It was such a great cast. Yeah,
it is a badass cast, to be honest. I'm talking about badass cast and series. We need to move on to badass character, which really shocked me. I don't recall seeing some story like this one before in anime, talking about Amane Chitose, or Amano Chitose, in My Dress Up Darling Season 2.
Yeah.
Okay. You didn't know about Dress Up Darling yet until you had this character?
So before I got this character, I think I had heard of it, but I didn't know much about it. And then once I got into it, I watched a decent amount of the show, and it's a very good show. And I see why specifically cosplayers love it so much, because it's obviously about cosplayers, but it represents cosplayers so well, and the wide variety of cosplayers as well. It's just, from the cute little slice of life scenes to the animation and the music, it's just a very well done series. And I'm really happy to be a part of it. Amane is a great character. Probably one of the more challenging characters I've ever done, just because of the fact that when he is in cosplay, initially, his first two cosplays, we did go with a higher voice, and that's like my highest register. So it's like the whole time I was really pushing it. And then obviously when he's out of cosplay, I get to do his normal voice. But I love playing characters with dynamics like that, where they have different levels with their voices, and plus Amane is just Chitose is just a very he's just a very sweet character, very lovable character. I love him a lot. And I have some fans that are like, you kind of look like him, which I get that a lot with my anime characters, I guess. Like, some people are like, you kind of look like Yuke. You kind of look like Bachira. I guess maybe it's the jawline. I don't know what it is. But no, I really like Chitose. And I hope that My Dress Up Darling, because I know season 2, I think, is about to wrap in the dub. But I have fans tell me that there's a little bit more content. So I'm hoping we get like an OVA or something, because man, I'm not ready to. I just got here. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not ready to leave the show yet, because it's awesome.
And everything's going to the big screen now, so it wouldn't surprise me suddenly we go to the big screen for another.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah. I think a Dress Up Darling movie.
Happy and proud to see.
Yeah, for sure.
Of course, and it will hit so well. And that's something I'm very proud of it, that how industry is hitting the big screen like never before.
Yes.
And we'll start this podcast. It was like maybe once a year.
Yep.
Maybe once every 2 years. And now we're hitting big series to the big screen. So talking about Chitose, we need to speak of Chitose. And we're going to drop some spoiler here because we have to, and I'm not going to miss my opportunity, guys.
Yeah.
Chitose, we have a cosplayer. You know what? You describe yourself as Chitose.
Well, as Chitose, do I describe myself as Chitose? Well, I really I like his passion for his craft a lot, and I will say that I relate to him in that way, that he's very passionate about what he does, and so am I. And and I, like I said, I like how he's a very observant character, because you notice when he's in in the scenes, he watches other characters very closely, and he tries to like, I don't know, he's just open-minded in the way that he approaches characters and different things, and I really like that about him. And yeah, no, I love him. He's great.
Look, I know letting you escape from this topic. We need to talk about it because Chitose is a cosplayer. It's a cross player.
Yes.
Who those who are not familiarized with the cross player term, technically, when a person cosplay the opposite gender that the person is identified. For example, boy cosplaying as a girl or girl cosplaying as a guy, which is way often.
Yes.
Now, we have this most of the time. For some reason, everybody assume. Okay, big people. A lot of people assume that if a guy cosplay as a girl, is gay. It's not heterosexual. Straight. In this character, which I feel like the first time or one of the few times, and guys, feel free to hit me hard in the comments if there's more character like Chitose. Chitose is a straight guy, humble, beautiful guy, lovely heart, cosplaying as a girl.
Yes.
And we find out like at the end of the first episode when we see Chitose, and then we're like, oh wait, what's going on? So you have to run with the voice of a girl.
Yes.
How was that?
That was very, very difficult. I remember when the director called me. He was like, "Hey man, I'm really considering you for this role because I'd worked with him in Blue Lock, and you know that Bachira is high already." And he was like, "Well, I feel like you could go higher." And I was like, "Okay, cool." And so like for like 5 days straight, because I only had 5 days to really come up with a voice, I had to really try to put my voice super high. And I have to with Chitose. That's one of the few voices like when he's in cosplay that I can't do the voice off the bat because it's just like I have to warm up for it and stuff because it just like. It's very vocally straining. Like, I've never chugged so much tea and water during a session in my life. It was a lot. But it was really cool. It was a unique experience, and I've never had a character like that, and the fans seem to really, really like it. And Chitose, there I have run into a lot of cosplayers like that, like you said, straight cosplayers that dress up as maids or whatever and come with their wives and their kids. You know what I mean? And I thought it was really cool how he represents that group of cosplayers, and he does it very well. And so, like I said, that's why where my Joseph Darling really shines is the fact that like there's so many different types of cosplayers, and it really just hits every single archetype just so well, and it's really fun to watch. So yeah, I love it. I think it's great.
Do you receive any reaction or feedback when people around you find out that you were doing that voice first a girl and then you're a boy?
Well, so what's interesting is I had when it first came out before I made the announcement, I had certain people that were like, it sounds like maybe it could be this actor or this actor, and then I told them it was me, and they were like, what? And then I have some fans that are like hardcore Drew Breedlove fans, and they were like, oh no, that's really, really close to Bachira. And so they were like, it could be him. So but no, I think it's pretty 50-50. Some people know it's me, and then other people have no idea. And so because with Chitose, Bachira is naturally high from Blue Lock, but with Chitose, he's not as sing-songy, he's more conversational. And so, like, to be able to get rid of that and then, obviously put him an octave higher, I think really changed up the voice. And it was fun. So, yeah, no, the reactions have been really, really good on it.
So, I get the spoiler somehow. I find out that this character is coming now, and I'm always checking the voice actor, and I see Drew, and I'm like, hold it, wait. I was like the meme. Wait a minute. And I'm here like, let me see if I'm reading right, because most of the time people, when we have a female character, it's high chance it's going to be split between two voice actors, a female character for the female part and a guy for the guy. But it's rarely when the guy takes both roles.
Yeah,
love when this happened. And when I see the announcement, like, okay, let me not say anything to my wife, which I haven't seen yet, and we're sitting watching it, and I'm looking at her reaction because I knew what's going on, and I have a good hint, and I read what was about to happen. So she's like, catch up that there's a guy, Jet, until the end. He's like, oh, so I'm a boy, and she like, I knew it. I mean, I knew it was something else. I couldn't get it, and then I like, yeah, I knew about this character. By the way, they say the voice actor is the same person. You're like, what? Like he did it? Like, yep, it wasn't a girl. It was a guy playing as a role play, and yeah, it was exciting. We were excited to see this type of option happening from the voice actor perspective.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. Like I said, that's what we were aiming for. Because, like, he is, like discussed earlier, he's a straight male who cosplays, females, and so we wanted to obviously, like, we were going for that kind of vibe. And what's really great is a lot of my fans are like, yeah, you could tell, like, off the bat, it was like something was like it could go either way. You know what I mean? And then once he finally says, "Hey, I'm a guy," it's like, "Oh, okay, cool." And that's what we were going for. And so, like I said, it's such a fun character. I love voicing Chitose. He's awesome.
We celebrate Chitose as a sport event when Chitose is telling the sad story that he was dating this girl at college level.
Yes.
And go to the door and find out all the dress. She's like, "Oh, what the heck? You cannot do the dress. The people are going to judge you." And she judged him very bad. I feel horrible.
Yeah.
And totally, he said, "Oh, so I did what I had to be. I had to do." And everybody was expecting like, "Oh, Carl, he resigned to cosplayer for her." And I dumped her, and we were like here, like, "Let's go!"
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, we jump of excitement when he said that part.
Yeah, a lot of my fans told me that they love that scene. I love his backstory a lot. I think it's really, really cool. And like I said, I love how he's just such a fun-loving, sweet character, and it's really cool. I love my dress-up darling. Like I said, slice of lives have always been my go-to. They're just so great. Like one thing that's on my bucket list is I would love to be a lead in a slice of life, just because they're just so, you don't think, you just watch, and they're just enjoyable. They're awesome.
And I'll always say, guys, and I was speaking with many of the previous guests we have in the podcast, that never underestimate slice of life. You guys think that because you're just being soft, then no, you just need to be yourself. No, it's the other way around. The less emotional the character is, the more job the voice actor has to do, because they need to deliver a message in a monotone many times. So yeah, slice of life. Yeah, that's my tea. That's what I'm sure. FIFA World Cup, I think it's next summer, right?
Yeah, and I think Texas is actually, specifically Dallas, is doing some stuff for it, which that would be cool. If we did some stuff like a Blue Lock crossover, because I know I saw that Blue Lock officially announced season 3, and then they are also doing a live action next summer. I think it was next summer. I think it said 2026.
Yeah. Keep me posted, because if I need to drive over there, I'm going to drive. But going back to the voice actor role, so many times this character, when they're not fighting, game moment, which sometimes feel like a fight, they have to. It is very physical demanding. Do you feel that physical fatigue at any point as a voice actor?
So if we're talking about Blue Lock, so the thing about Blue Lock is whenever they are in a really intense moment, you kind of have to replicate that with your voice. So yeah, in the booth. So the director, he really gets us into it. So he's like, "Hey, run with them." And so we'll do that, just to have that sound whenever we're playing. And I think it really adds to it a lot. And so, it's very interesting. When I first started acting, I was an extra on a film set called My All American, and the actor that was in it, Aaron Eckhart, who plays Two-Face in Batman, I would watch him, and before every take, he would like do push-ups, run back and forth, do all this other stuff, and then by the time the take went, he would be like, and like in the scene, you'd feel that. And so I feel like when you apply that to being like in a voiceover role as well, like if you ever watch behind the scenes of like movies and stuff, like some of the actors that get really into it, like you can hear it. And I think that really, really just helps the performance overall when you physically get into it,
We need to speak about Drew. How do you make to the voice acting? Because you have in-camera experience, right?
Yes. Yeah. So I still do on camera as well. I shot a commercial earlier this year. And I've been in Hallmark movies. I've done a lot of commercials and stuff like that. And I also have a theater background as well in improv. And so, I've been acting for almost 15 years. And so it's a long time. And voice acting specifically since the tail end of 2016. So I started with Funimation, and then I was there during the whole Sony buyout, and then now I'm with Crunchyroll. And so I've been there for a little bit.
That's true, because you have one of my favorite series, Tetsuya Children, which I love that one. That's from 2017. But okay, what drives you to go to the voice acting, having the in camera, why not saying just in camera?
Well, so so on camera had always been like one of my main focuses, just because. So I had an uncle that was what they call props master, and so he was in charge of like the whole props department for a set. And his generation, he worked on like the Goonies, National Treasure. He worked on like that generation of movies. And one thing he told me, because I was right out of high school, I was going to go from theater, I was going to go to New York, I was going to do the whole go to Broadway. And he was like, no, you should try for film. And I was like, okay, cool. So I got an agent, started doing film stuff. And I'd always thought about voiceover, but I never really pursued it heavily. And it wasn't until my old church did a production of Fiddler on the Roof. And 2 days before opening, one of the cast members got sick and they asked me to sub in. Well, it turns out the director of that particular production was friends with the upcoming director at Funimation at the time. And he came and he saw, and he asked some of us to audition. And then that's how I got into Funimation. And so the very first time I ever actually did voiceover was at Funimation. They had to call me in a little early before the session. It was on a show called All Out. It was a rugby anime. And they called me in a little bit beforehand to just kind of coach me through how like it all worked. And because I've been working professionally up until that time, it was just a matter of translating over to the voiceover world. And so with voiceover specifically, I've gotten most all of it through word of mouth and just learning on the job kind of thing. Because I'm really I'm agented when it comes to on-camera stuff, but not voiceover. So, yeah, it's pretty wild. I kind of fell into it.
I see, and we always experience every time, no matter which job you work area, you're in engineering, medical, acting, TV, whatever you name it, always new experience is going to benefit other experience, especially when you're doing cross-function.
Yes.
In this case, you're doing it's in the art, but they're two different monsters in camera and voice acting. Which one do you feel like benefit more the other one? In camera to the voice acting, or voice acting to the in camera? Which one do you think it really helped you to help grow more?
Well, so I think they're all, when you look at the different acting mediums, I think they're all very different. But they complement each other in a lot of ways. So like with theater, you have a live audience, right? And so with theater, if you mess up, you got to keep going. You can't just stop and be like, oh, wait, hold on, let me fix that. So you have to learn to think on your feet, right? And so with film, you have the chaos of a set. Being on set, even like a commercial set, is very chaotic. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of big equipment. There's a lot of people on set. In between takes, you have, wardrobe fixing your makeup and your, everything like that. And so it's a lot going on. Plus you have this big camera in your face. And then like when they say action, you just go for it. Right. And so you have to be able to kind of dial in and in some ways also think on your feet with that. And then with voiceover, it's more around playing with the voice. And then being able to, just convey that, whatever's on the animation, convey that particular emotion. But I think that like for voiceover, like it obviously helps voices. Like if I went to film and theater, it would help me discover voices that I could use in those. And then with film and theater, because they are more physical, it helps me physically move more in the booth. So it helps my voiceover. So I think they all kind of complement each other. They just are all, they're different mediums. I will say I have met certain voiceover actors that were like, I will never be on a film set just because they're so chaotic. And I don't blame them, but I love that chaos. And like I said, I grew up going out to LA all the time. to visit my uncle that lived out there. And so like, I would constantly be going to Warner Brothers, or he worked a lot with Panavision and stuff. So I would go to those studios, and he was high up in, I believe it's called IATSE, which is the kind of the Technicians Guild. And he, I would go on sets and stuff, and I was like, this is great, And so I love the chaos of a set. But, like I said, I love them all equally. They're different. The way you approach them is just differently.
Mitsuki, how about this experience of voicing Mitsuki when it's a high tone, hyper, and it's everywhere at the same time, technically?
Yeah, so Mitsuki was he was very interesting because he's a little bit higher, but he's also, so it's like for him it's like Bachira if he was lower. And I say Bachira, I reference Bachira all the time because like Bachira is just kind of like my natural high pitched voice, and so Kiryu I wanted to tone that down because he's a cool ladies man, and he was a lot of fun. I'm actually really looking forward to future Windbreaker because I have fans of mine that have read the manga, and they're like, his backstory is really, really good. And so I feel like we won't get into it next season, but probably the season afterward, depending on how fast they adapt everything. I have no idea. But I'm excited to get to his backstory. He's such a great character. I love his design. I love like the fans love, he has like this hot dog phone case, and the fans love that. And I love that. I think it's great. And then he really stands out among the Windbreaker cast. There's just something about him that really like, I love this. If you've seen Naruto, I love his like Neji Hinata fighting style and all like his pressure points and stuff. I think that's great. I love characters like that. And I'm really excited to see him more in action. He's awesome. I hope I get to voice him for a while, because I know that Windbreaker and Blue Lock are the same publisher. They're Kodansha, and they're both really popular in Japan. And so it would be really cool to be with these characters for like long term, because I really enjoy them and I enjoy the show. And I think Windbreaker, again, the animation is just absolutely gorgeous. And I love the music, and the fights are so like awesome, like especially for hand-to-hand like martial arts, really, really good. I hope it's around for a bit. Mitsuki is definitely he's a sexy ladies man. He's a defender of the ladies, and he's awesome. Super chill, very laid back, loves to play video games. He's definitely a silent observer type. But he's also just a very he pegs me as a go with the flow kind of guy. And he's awesome. And I'm really excited to see more of him. That's one of my big things that I can't wait to spend more time with him, because he's such an interesting character in the Windbreaker world. I can't wait. He's awesome.
Which is great because Windbreakers, it is a group. We're talking about, they're not mafia. They're like kids who fight to protect the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Their turf. And not guns. They're more fight like kids. Like, we're going to speak with the feet. And we're going to kick ourselves, and then say, because I love you. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah.
So, and Mitsuki, in this world of aggressiveness, he's the sweet, he's like the sweet and passive aggressive at the same time.
Yeah. He's a little bit of everything. I have a lot of fans that refer to him as Bachira's surfer brother. I get that a lot, because Bachira, he's this sweet little like baby boy, but then he's got this monstrous side, right? And Kiryu is the same way. He's like this very, mellow kind of guy, but then like if you make him really mad, he's got like this dark side to him. And so he's really great. What's funny is, so in December, I think that they are doing an official Windbreaker Blue Lock collab, like with merchandise or something. And I hope my boys get paired up, because that would be so friggin' awesome. I love him. Kiryu is, like I said, once we get to his backstory, I think a lot of people are really gonna, because it's so good. From what I've read of it, it's very, very good.
It is. And season 2 really gives a nice story, a lot of new content. And to wrap it up, also you have the character of Oliver.
Yes.
In Ray the Seven Spellblades. For those who haven't seen that series, How do you describe Spellblade? Right in Spellblade.
It is quite literally anime Harry Potter. So I believe it was produced by Warner Brothers Japan, and it is like when you watch it from the animation to the music, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, it's Harry Potter but darker. And it's got some swords in it. I mean, Harry Potter, like towards the end, gets really dark, but like this is dark from the beginning. And it's Oliver he's very much that teacher figure for his group. He's very soft spoken, but he watches everything. If you can't tell, I guess I get cast as certain type of characters. It's either the anime protagonist, magician, like teacher guy, or the crazy one. It's mine. But I really love Spellblades. That's another one I hope we eventually get a season 2 of, because, the author is still doing books of it. And from what I hear, what's coming down in the books is just so, gosh, we haven't even touched the surface. The season 1 just kind of introduces the world and the characters. But to really get into what Spellblades is about is like the next couple years, because they've got 7 years of schooling, and just like Harry Potter. But no, it gets really, really crazy, some of the stuff that goes down, and yeah, I hope they animate it, because I love playing Oliver. He, like I said, he was my first lead, and I learned a lot with him. Because the story with him is, I played Bachira, and Bachira was very prevalent in season 1 and season 2, but really this was before season 2. So, he was in season 1 a lot. I was like, okay, I feel like, translating to a lead would be pretty natural. And I was very wrong. Being a lead is very, very different from being like a major secondary character, because of the fact that when you're the lead, you're like the lead. So the show is on your shoulders, and, your cast does help quite a bit. But like as the lead, you really have to set the tone for like, especially big scenes and things like that. And so there's a lot more technicality to it, I feel personally. And so I learned a lot with Oliver. And I love that show. Like I said, I love most of the shows that I'm in. You know what I mean? And, but no, I ran into 7 Spellblades. For those of you that really like Harry Potter and fantasy, magic school type thing, really, really recommend it.
So before I wrap it up, from all the characters we spoke today, which one was the most challenging that you feel as today?
The most challenging? I would definitely say Chitose in my dress up, just because of the fact that it was such a vocal difference between the two voices. For sure. In terms of I love Bachira too. He's got his own moments that are challenging. I really try to push myself with my characters, especially if they have 2 different notes, just because it makes them more interesting to listen to as well. But I definitely think Chitose is one of the more challenging ones. I actually had one recently that we didn't talk about. I've only been in 1 episode so far, but it's in this show called Lord of Mysteries. And I don't know if you've heard of it, but they officially announced it's going till 2035. I believe it's 6 seasons, 2 special hour-long episodes, and a movie. And I have to do the accent for him. He's got a heavy accent, and that one was also challenging for me. But I'm excited for that one. His name is Derek Berg. Yeah, for that one. So highly recommend that too. If you like Victorian murder mysteries, check that one out.
We'll check it out. We're gonna see that one yet. So Drew, thank you so much. For those who haven't followed you yet, which social media can they follow you?
Yeah, so I'm literally on everything. My main ones are Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. So if you just type in Drew Breedlove VA, that's me.
Awesome. And like always, guys, just go down to the description of this episode on YouTube, and down the description, just span over the description, you're going to find Drew links to the social media. It's easy over there. Down, expand, click, boom, you made it. Easy. All the job done for you guys. And you guys made it right there. We always humbly ask you for the subscribe, like, and share. YouTube, the most important one. The Instagram, and you can find all the social media except Twitter. Blue Sky? Yeah, Blue Sky. You can find me on Blue Sky. Also find down the description the links. So Drew, thank you so much for everything.
Yeah, thank you guys. Thanks for listening. It was fun.
All right, well, so we have a good time. So, guys, we'll see you guys in the next episode. Sayonara.